And back with us tonight is one of our favorite people on this planet. He is more than half past human. He is there. He has matriculated to a higher state of consciousness that few men or women will ever achieve. He even has, well, let's hear it from him directly. How are you?
I'm doing fine. You mean I've matriculated to the exalted ranks of pie makers?
I didn't want to go there, but it's all right. You are a pie guru. There's another word. What am I looking for?
Well, I'm a master of crusts. There's no doubt of that.
Great, yeah. Crusty old guy. There's another word. What is it? Starts with an A. A pie avatar. Aha!
There we go.
Is that it? Or was it aphrodisiac?
No, an adept. There we go.
An adept?
Yes.
That's right. You are adept, too. All
right.
How
are things down south these days?
Same as they are up there. Fall is here, but it's still in the mid-80s, as it is, I guess, and it's hotter than that in Southern California still.
Yeah, we've got extremely warm temperatures and then sudden plunges at night to actually slightly cooler than normal temps. So it's a bit odd, and then the sun strength is just astounding and late in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's too much. It's very intense. 5 minutes in the sun between 10 and 2 in a bathing suit will give you 1,000 units of vitamin D3 created in your body each minute. You only need 5 minutes worth. Go to a tanning salon, whatever. You need 5,000 units a day to make sure your immune system works. We put the video up with Dr. Canal. It's up there, MD. It's in the bottom of the featured flu story box, so be sure and view that video and get your 5,000 units of D3 and C while you're at it, vitamin C. So let's get healthy.
Well, we have to. We're obviously directly under assault.
From too many directions to count, I might add.
Yeah, I know.
It's
a little
really
bit,
silly.
Wearing here, yeah.
The wagons are circled, and it's kind of like, the Indians used to go round and round, but it's solid Indians now. I mean, they're just 360 degree assault. There are so many bills in Congress. Some lunatic congressman from Oregon put this bill in. Now I don't know where it's going to go. We'll see. Where he wants to fund a $150 million study to find out how to design technology to monitor every car in America and tax it on a per-mile basis.
Yeah.
Total
like really
control.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Turns out the guy is a bicycle rider. He probably hates cars, but I mean, where are these things coming from? And they're not coming in many cases from the congressmen and women who introduce them or sponsor them. They're coming from other sources.
Well, none of these people are literate, so I doubt any of the bills are ever penned by our Congress critters.
True.
I mean, I've worked in government. I know how it goes. This stuff bubbles up from the deep undermind of groupthink, and it gets weirder as it heads higher, and then finally someone latches onto it for a political reason, puts it forward, and fights and eventually gets it passed.
True. We had a guy named George Ure on the program the other night. You know him?
Oh, he's a scary fellow, yeah. Get him caffeinated, and there's just no telling what'll happen.
UrbanSurvival.com. Don't miss that one. George is a remarkable guy. I've got to get him on more often. You've redesigned Half Past Human a little bit, the homepage. And
yeah, I'm just trying to simplify everything.
It is.
It's so much work to run this, and you just get to the point where you just want to trim everything, the whole Walden deal of simplify.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised you're still able to carry the load. It's huge.
Yeah, but I've got my wife doing the clerical stuff now, and Igor's got the servers down to where they're just humming, so it's not that bad. The workload on this end has gotten a little bit steep, but it's kind of like we're racing time. We've got to do this stuff now.
What's amazing is the new subscription rate. Tell them about that. And this isn't a pitch; it's a pitch. I want you folks to subscribe because this is unique information, to put it mildly.
Yeah, and let's drop the subscribe word, because what we wanted to do was to get it on a pay-per-view kind of basis, in the sense that you buy a report just very much like a magazine, rather than getting it on any form of a subscription, because we have a feeling that our ability to continue doing these is basically not in our control, and at some point the mechanisms that allow us to do this kind of work will be shut down for us, in which case I don't want to owe anybody any reports, so we're not booking ahead, so to speak.
Well, that's smart. Makes sense, and you're quite right. The number of assaults on our liberty are, again, I'm not belaboring this, astonishing to me. Everywhere I look, I'll find an email with someone one day which alludes to a bill in the House or in the Senate, which has passages in there that are so off the wall and crazy, not to mention unconstitutional, that you just sit there slack-jawed.
And then that doesn't take into account any of the weird stuff going on at the state level.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but you know, it's kind of, it's an interesting concept to look from a very high view at the political movement and the social shift back and forth that occurs. If you get a view up, you can see that in fact what we're looking at is a large push that could be defined as an archetype of fascism or control, even going back into patriarchal kind of control. You know, I know what is good for you as though you are a child. And then they have the support systems. And now we're getting the response back from the populace. There's an additional wave of stuff going on, though, that appears to be cyclic and go all the way back to the original beginning of the American Revolution. And I say original because in my mind it isn't finished yet. And that this cycle is itself completing. So there's all of our day-to-day cycles of dealing with the emails of, you know, so-and-so nut-job politician proposing that we do this screwy thing, as opposed to being rational and storing our resources up and getting ready for the hard times ahead, or even looking at things realistically, you know.
Right. I'd have to think, and I'm not sure I could come up with any. Can you think of a piece of legislation in the Congress that is really warranted, full of social or even economic value, that is common sense in its origins and is glued together properly?
But I'm opposed to legislation of all kinds. If we ran things my way, we would take all our politicians and stick them in a barracks that would be surrounded by the military, both for their protection and to keep them there while they did their work for a limited period of time. And then every bill they wanted to pass, they would have to remove one. So if they really wanted a bill, they'd have to find one law to get rid of.
Every law, every bill that's passed, I don't care if it's at your local county level, city level, or the national level, is less freedom. Yes.
We're overwhelmed by it now, and it's even gone beyond. Used to be that if you look at language, you find an interesting thing. Go back and look at some of the movies. And movies are a good example because they're easily found, and if you start paying attention to shifts in language, it's very revealing. Look at movies from the 20s and 30s, especially the Westerns, in which the person that we identify now as the sheriff or whatever was frequently the peacekeeper, and he was the peace officer, or, you know, justice of the peace, or worked, in that capacity. And then
you felt a wave of good when he came into the screen, usually.
Yes. And the language reflected this inside the movies and about him. And as it shifted forward, now look at what we're looking at in terms of, quote, law enforcement. And we're no longer concerned about peace. We're concerned about enforcing a law, not about the good of the citizenry, but somehow living up to a strange code that's been imposed on it. So it has been a huge mind shift in less than 100 years. And it has certainly moved towards the last element of control of the fascism. The good part is, of all this business, is that they're doing this huge last push just as we're running out of the money to pay for it. So it's going to come crumbling down around all of our ears, unfortunately.
You know, I keep suggesting that to people who are probably far wiser than I in terms of the economy, and they say, well, no, we're not going to run out of money because they'll just keep making it, which is what they've been doing for years and years, and they'll continue to do it. And they keep coming up with a new wrinkle, a new loop, a new trick, a new way to induce or entice or otherwise defraud the American public. And if that doesn't work, they just force them. We just did it, and you're stuck with it. So I don't know.
But we've got the recent examples of them trying to impose dollar hegemony on Iraq and Afghanistan. And it didn't work in Iraq. All we did was barely hold our own there.